Hey everyone, this is Stacy with SF Johnson Consulting and Construction Services. And in this podcast, we are going to go over the eight-step approach to fall protection. And this course in particular is for project managers and safety managers, give you a more in-depth look and things to think about when we talk about fall protection. You know, fall protection or fall hazard is one of the fatal four, the four most causes of fatalities in construction. Falls is number one, and so we go over that in our OSHA 10 and OSHA 30 to make sure you have a good understanding. It may sound very simple, but there are some processes that you should go through on your construction site to do your best to prevent falls. And these are some of the things, again, we want safety managers to think about when producing your safety program. And you know that we have tons of information to provide you and to assist you in producing your safety manual, which you need to have on site at all times. If you have at least 10 or over, you could be cited for not having it. So falls, number one in the fatal four. And if this is something that you are in charge of at your job or something you want to think about in more detail, please make sure to subscribe, give us your thoughts, and let us know what challenges that you may have on the job when it comes to keeping your people safe. So some things you want to think about when you are doing your work. Now, the first thing, I had a student, I think, was trying to do the stump the teacher thing. You know, I always want to stump the girl teacher. It says, well, what if the ladder's up 10 feet? What if it's a 10-foot ladder and there's nothing for you to connect to? Well, you know, this is for your safety. And so there are processes that you should do prior to. You don't just show up on site with a ladder. So what you should do first thing is look at your plans. And at what point will you have to, go up above? And, there are other things other than harnesses. The rule is if there's a possibility of you falling 6 feet, you have to have some form of fall protection. So I recommended a lift. Oh, a lift won't fit in. Well, then, you're going to have to do your best. These are standards, that you want to keep in mind when you are getting the site together to do the work. You're going to look at your plans. You're going to see where you have to go up above 6 feet. Okay, so you have to anticipate the upcoming fall hazards, and not only in the beginning, but as the work progresses. Okay, so are there any unique fall hazard situations like 10-foot ladder with nothing to fall on? Okay, so your safety director or the competent person for that area, should always be aware as the project goes on where the typical falls hazards may be. Okay, so pre-planning. Okay, so you should have a pre-planning checklist. Okay, and again, this is stuff for safety managers to keep in mind when you're discussing falls with your crew. Okay, so it's important. It's an important aspect of fall hazard prevention is the planning aspect. Okay, so you have to have an assessment of all the possible fall hazards, even the potential fall hazards. Okay, so this may be done, hopefully you can do corrective measures prior to. Okay, and, if someone falls, then, you got to reassess the situation and always have fall rescue methods. Okay, so that's part of your pre-planning process is to look at the site where the potentials that could cause a hazard and adjust for that and have a rescue plan. Okay, so if the proper planning is done, prior to, then time and materials won't be wasted. Okay, you'll know what you're going to do. You won't have fatalities or severe injuries, and you'll be able to go on. So let's talk about beginning the process of identifying the areas. Okay, so we know that the potential falls come along with scaffolds and ladders and roof openings and open leading edges. Okay, you also need to think about open floors. Okay, structural framing, that's the leading edge. Okay, the aerial lift platforms. Okay, tops of equipment, ramps. Okay, all of that, stairways. Okay, and so, what we're trying to help you do is have a written fall protection plan. Okay, so do you understand the standard? Okay, the standard is 6 feet, 3 feet. If you're dealing with a ladder, the ladder has to go above the landing 3 feet. Okay, now as far as the site, the safety manager should be the qualified person that's doing all of this, that's making the assessments and making the corrections. Okay, and so as we discussed in class, we go from the most effective fall protection to the least effective. And the most effective, of course, is to eliminate the situation altogether. So we want to change the process, be able to do it or whatever, if possible, at ground level. Okay, so that's the most effective. Next is the engineering controls, install platforms and guard railings. Okay, utilize boom and scissor lifts. Okay, tie offs where the work is above that height. Okay, and make sure you have warnings and signs, training and procedure, and last but not least, the least effective is the PPE, safety harnesses and lanyards. Okay, portable guardrails. Okay, so you want to eliminate the hazard if all possible. Implement some engineering controls, and last but not least, get the PPE that prevents you from falling. And so we have the 8-step approach to fall protection, and this is what we want to talk about. Okay, so just quickly, number one is to determine the walking working surfaces, that they are structurally safe. And so this is number one of your 8-step process. Number two, you're going to conduct a fall hazard assessment. Number three, you're going to eliminate the need for fall protection if at all possible. And number four, select the appropriate type of fall protection system. Number five, very important, develop rescue and retrieval procedures. Number six, develop an equipment inspection, maintenance, and storage program. Number seven, provide fall protection training. And number eight, monitor the fall protection program. Okay, so step one, determine the working walking surface, that they are structurally sound. Does it have enough strength and structural integrity to safely support all employees and their equipment? So that's step one, that you're doing your assessment, looking at the walking working surface, making sure it's structurally sound. Okay, so of course, common sense, you should not let the employee walk on surfaces you've determined not to be sound. Okay, so fall hazards, they're present everywhere. And so we're going to use the first thing that we can do. Assess your working surface and make sure it's structurally sound. Are there elevations that may make you slip and may cause an injury? Note those, mark those. Okay, so that's step one. Determine if the walking working surfaces are structurally sound. Two. Okay, so I want you to be able, as the trainer, safety trainer, to go into great detail on that. Number two, conduct a fall hazard assessment. Okay, so knowing what can contribute to the fall, of course, can help in assessing and stopping that risk. Okay, so are you working near unguarded edges? Okay, is there a lack of safe access to where you have to go? Is it slippery or uneven? Okay, so determine which specific jobs or activities or areas expose the employees to a fall hazard, because not all do. Okay, so determine which specific jobs, activities. So if we're the framer, we know, if we're up on a ladder, second story, whatever, above 6 feet, there's a possibility. So we determine at that point what method of fall protection is most feasible and practical to use. Now, if there are no OSHA specific standards, then you have to do your best to come up with your own plan established by a competent person to achieve the same goal. So, if you can't do it OSHA's way, that doesn't alleviate you from the responsibility of not providing fall protection. Okay, so when you conduct the fall hazard assessment, you want to think about these things. Are there unprotected sides or edges? Are there openings in the floor or roof? Okay. Are there slippery edges? Okay. Are you using portable ladders and stairways? Okay, because those pose a hazard in themselves, and there are standards related to that. Okay, are you working above dangerous equipment? Okay, are there obstructions, as in material? Okay, overhead electricians, are you working overhead, doing some kind of thing where you're on a crane overhead, or over a excavation site where you're walking through or walking over some excavation. Whether you fall from above the surface of finished floor 6 feet or fall down below ground 6 feet, the same thing applies. Okay, so step 2, conduct a full fall hazard assessment. Okay, things to think about with that too. Determine if the other types of health and safety hazards can affect the selection or use of fall protection systems. So there's a lot to think about. All right, 3. Eliminate the need for fall protection. So to eliminate, and that's only if possible. Okay, so your planning definitely comes first. Eliminate work from the ground. Okay, have covers over openings. Okay, walls and enclosures. Make sure there are no openings that anybody can fall through. You want to prevent. You prevent by using railings. You prevent by using aerial lifts, fences, barricades. A parapet wall helps you prevent. And an arrest. That means to keep you from falling and injuring yourself. So, of course, personal fall arrest systems, restraint system nets, positioning devices. Okay, and so step 4, it goes to selecting the appropriate type of fall protection system. So we want to go from the more passive, like a guardrail system, to the active, like our harnesses, and being fall restraint system, being harnessed to something. So fall protection system refers to the equipment designed to control your fall hazard. All fall protection systems either prevent a fall from occurring or safely help you arrest the fall, or fall but then come to a safe stop. Okay, so you want to use hopefully once you do the assessment, we want to go to the most passive, which is guardrails and safety nets, meaning we don't have to do anything to put those in place. We don't have to wear them. They have to be there. And then, of course, most active is our personal fall arrest system that consists of the anchor, the connectors, the harness. Okay, and that works together to stop us from falling and to minimize the force. So lots of different systems, and you'll evaluate the job that you're doing, the location, the site, on which ones work best. 5, develop a rescue and retrieval procedure. That's very important, and I don't think there are 5 companies that I know that have this. They have the hats, they have the shoes, they have the belts, but what do we do if someone actually falls? What's the procedure? Okay, have to make sure we do that. Okay, so the equipment you use too, your fall protection equipment, all equipment. You want to check it for cuts and rips on a regular basis. Make sure it fits you properly, it's not distorted, loose. Okay, and definitely periodic inspections by the competent person and written down, showing, as proof that that was done. Okay, and then you want to also not only inspect your fall protection equipment, but you also want to always inspect your equipment. Okay, so equipment inspection, maintenance, and storage program. You want to have a program to do that. Okay, so you must be trained. I mean, the construction standard requires that the person providing the training be a competent person, so you have to know how to use the equipment yourself. And then associated with that equipment, what is the nature of all hazards associated with that equipment? And again, this OSHA stuff can sound so long and boring until somebody falls, right? Until somebody's hurt, until someone cannot go to work, and then we realize we never had the training, and if we would have had just a little bit or even paid attention to it, we could have avoided a lot. So construction can be a very dangerous profession. It really can be, and sometimes we take for granted our ability to do a lot of things, but this training is vital, it's important, and it keeps you working, it keeps the business moving, and keeps everybody out of trouble. Okay, so this again is for the safety manager to know when and what to do and how to do it. I have a full pamphlet of 53 pages full of this stuff just for fall hazard recognition, prevention, and the control of it. Okay, so training must be provided. Okay, when employees are assigned to work where the hazard exists. So when you first start the job, of course, when you start on any new job, you need to confirm that your employees, the new hires, have had OSHA training. It doesn't have to be renewed, although it's good to do it on a regular basis, but according to OSHA standards, it doesn't have to be renewed. And so you want to make sure they're aware of the jobs that they're doing that may involve a fall. Responsibilities change for an employee. If he's promoted to something or doing a different job, then training must be provided at that time. New methods, or when anything new changes, or that's pretty much it. Any responsibilities change or new methods of doing something changes, then you need to follow up on the fall protection and see if there's any new fall hazards associated with those changes. Okay, now also training must be provided when there is a new fall hazard. So when someone falls, it has to be recorded, then training is immediately required at that point, at the earliest possible day after this new fall hazard. Okay, let's see. Additional trainings necessary. Training is provided, and employees have not acquired or retained adequate understanding. So what that means is you're out there on the site and you see someone doing something stupid. Apparently, that may cause a fall. Apparently, that means that the employee has not acquired or retained an adequate understanding of what causes a fall hazard. And so, yes, training must be provided again. Okay, so You want to consider both a classroom instruction where they have to answer some questions, and you want to also uh, have on, hands-on training. Okay, step 7 of our 8 steps to fall prevention or hazard prevention. Step 7 is to, of course, provide fall protection training. Okay, so keep in mind that employers must prepare a written certification, okay, that it identifies the employee, and it must contain the following. Keep in mind the name of the employee, the dates of the training, and the signature of the trainer or employer. And last but not least, make sure to always monitor the fall protection program continuously. Okay, monitor the program for if it's working, and you want to make sure that every part of step 1 through 7 is being followed by not only employees but supervisors at the job site. Okay, um, kind of the following suggestions just to wrap this up. And a key way to monitor the fall protection program is to, one, conduct periodic inspections to ensure, right, that, just like a quiz, just take a look, make sure everybody's in compliance to what you've taught. Take immediate action if you notice that something is out of the way. Take immediate corrective action, including the use of disciplinary action. It says here, because this could be very serious, depending on the degree of, the dumbness that's out there. Okay, and every 6 months, or make sure everything has been signed. If you have, even on a 30-day basis, if there's someone new, make sure they've been trained. Do the audit of the program at least once a year. So you want to see, was everyone trained when you do the audit? Was everyone trained? How often were new people trained? Within what time period from the time that they were hired were they trained? Okay, and reward the efforts of the employees that make sure to stay safe and have respect for the program and want to do things to keep everybody safe. So that is the 8 steps again to our fall protection safety. Okay, so just again, step 1, you want to always determine and take a look of your walking working surfaces, and you always want to make sure that they're structurally safe. Step 2, you want to conduct a hazard assessment, and this is only fall protection, but electrocution, all of that. I mean, when you do the assessment, really it's for all of these things, but we're focusing on falls right now. Step 3, you want to eliminate the need for fall protection if possible. Step 4, select the appropriate type of fall protection system for the job. Step 5, determine and develop a rescue and retrieval procedure in the event someone does fall. Step 6, develop an equipment inspection and maintenance and storage program. Okay, 7, provide fall protection training, of course. And 8, you want to always continuously monitor the fall protection program. So, any questions on this, make sure you send it to me directly at education@sfjohnsonconsulting.com. We have the OSHA 10 and OSHA 30, 10 hours or 30 hours. We recommend 30 hours in this training for safety managers, just so you go a little more in depth and some of the things that your employees should know and you should know as a safety manager. So I look forward to training you guys soon. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.